Welcome back yet again to Star Wars Nerds Unite, the discussion and review podcast focused on the Star Wars canon and media. I'm your host, Tim VanAutreve. Joining me as always are Josh the Tosh, internet famous Mason.
Hello.
And Jennifer VanAutreve. Welcome.
My intro is so lame compared to Josh's.
Well, you need more nicknames. So today we're going to continue hashtag Rebels Block, which we could do from now until what feels like eternity. But we're going to be talking about episode 9, which is titled The Winkathu Job. So we're going to discuss that, then we'll read a whole bunch of fan mail because we're super behind, and then we'll move on with our lives. So
hopefully.
Who's going to give the synopsis? Anybody want to arm wrestle?
Not me.
She said she didn't want to.
All right, I'm out. You do it.
Not it.
All right. This episode is another Hondo episode. Ezra and Hondo are plotting a job, and we find out that Hondo's partner in this job is as Morrigan, and it's a Imperial cargo ship that they say at first was abandoned by the Empire and is slowly drifting into this planet that's like a big storm, a big sandstorm. And all they have to do is get onto the ship and they can take some cargo. And the rebels are interested because there's some proton bombs, supposedly.
Yeah, and Hondo says he just wants some insignificant
treasure,
metals,
right?
and
just some insignificant precious metals that
the rebellion
rebels
would have no interest in.
Right.
they couldn't use that.
So ultimately the rebels are desperate, so they agree. They get the proton bombs as Morrigan and Hondo get the treasure. They go to the ship. Ezra's PO'd because Hera makes Zeb in charge of the mission, so he's acting very petulant the entire time. And everything seems to be going smoothly until this sentry droid ends up capturing as Morrigan, and then Zeb chases after as Morrigan, and Zeb gets caught, and then Ezra chases after Zeb. All the while, the cargo ship is slowly falling to doom. And I think the big character growth situation that occurs is Ezra is slowly figuring out that Hondo's just greedy. He's not loyal at all. And we see that Ugnaught that is on Hondo's crew, Mott, I think, is his name.
Is he the one that looks like the little pig?
Yeah.
Yeah. He looks like the little Ugnaught.
Yeah.
I don't know
'Cause
what
he's
the
an
Ugnaught is. They look like pigs. They have pig faces.
Little pig people.
And they wear like overalls.
Yeah, they work. They're workers.
They look like, they're just like minions, but they look like pig faces.
And a little taller.
Maybe that's where Minions stole their idea
Maybe.
from.
That might be it. So they end up fighting their way out. They get the proton bombs, and as Morrigan and Hondo get this treasure chest, and they're arguing over it, and they're like gonna open it up, and it's Mott inside of it because he knew. You end up finding out that originally, as Morrigan and Hondo attacked the ship, which is what caused it to get disabled, and they were incapable of getting the cargo off because it was drifting down, and they needed help, and so that's why they enlisted the help of Ezra.
There was that other droid that I don't remember.
AP5.
Yeah, I don't know how he got involved.
A few episodes ago. Don't you remember when?
I know who he is, but I don't know. I haven't seen him since then.
Right, nobody has.
Well, I know.
He got involved.
I didn't think you saw
because
him.
he's an Imperial logistics droid who used to
so they were
work
using him
on
to
an
help.
identical ship. He came up with the plan.
So I like that droid.
Yeah.
He reminds me of K2SO.
He's very droll and
Yeah.
pithy.
Yeah.
He's not as funny as K2SO, but
No.
he's still... I like him.
So that's what happened. They got the proton bombs.
The movie Rogue One comes out soon, right?
On Blu-ray?
It comes out on streaming, I think, like March 24th or something.
Yeah.
That's exciting. There was some big controversy because there's no deleted scenes.
Right. Because there's too many deleted scenes.
Yeah. So then somebody made a joke about how they could just watch the trailers. Yuck. For the deleted scenes. Because there's so much cut out.
Mm-hmm.
Changed.
So funny.
Yeah.
Hilarious. So, good job on the synopsis.
Yeah.
Short and sweet. Ezra continues to cling to his past as if that has some sort of stability, and I think that's why he likes Hondo so much. Ezra's not a very good team player. He's not good at...
He wasn't during this episode.
But he's not, in general, a very good team player.
There's other times that he is.
And then he ends up not being a team player at some point in almost every instance. He does something that messes them up.
I don't think that's true. What did he do
Or
in
he goes off on his own.
the Hera episode to screw everything up?
Which one was that?
The one where they went and got her, tried to get her little statue thing.
Mm.
I can't remember.
I don't think he
I'm
did.
sure he did something.
I don't think he did. I think he
Ezra.
was pretty much team player the whole time.
He's
Though.
a scamp.
He was a good team
He's a street
player
urchin.
in the one where they with the
Last battle,
yes, with all the
the droids.
insects guys.
Oh no, that was a different one. The last battle is the one with the droids, the battle droids.
What's the one with the
I don't know what that one's called, but I know what
the
you're talking about.
Geonosis guys? The Geonosis ones that.
So that one
I
we
think I was
haven't
talking
reviewed
about-
yet.
Okay, I think I was talking about the last
That's
battle.
a future episode.
Then I'm talking about the one with the droids. He was
Battle
very
droids.
helpful in that one.
Yeah.
I have a feeling this is going to be a short episode. At Hobby84 on Twitter said, do you think the eps would be shorter if at timvanautreve stopped complaining about how long they were whilst recording?
Yeah,
So
I think so too. I think you do fill up. I wonder how many. Somebody should go back if you're really, really bored and see how many times Tim has complained about,
how long the episode is?
and just say each of them are a minute. Don't actually measure it. Just how many times. Every time he's mentioned it,
But
it's 1 minute of wasted content. And then add it all up, and I bet you at this point, it's at least the length of an episode.
But the undetermined factor is how much time I actually saved us by complaining.
None. You've saved no time.
How is that possible?
Because we're spending time talking about you
almost
complaining.
inevitably, we have shortened the episode because I said something about how
No.
long the episode was. If I just let it go, it would just go.
If you
No,
just
it
change the
wouldn't.
subject, it would accomplish your goal, but you'd rather complain.
I do try to change the subject all the time, and then you guys are like, let's talk about something else. It's super lame.
Obviously, people don't think it's super lame.
Whatever.
you.
At Hobby84, he's the only one.
Yeah,
Everybody else
the
likes
only
when,
one.
everybody else likes when I complain about the length of the episodes.
I don't think anybody's ever talked about it.
Yeah, they have. People brought it up.
The last time when the people voted, they liked longer episodes.
It was half and half.
It was not. There was a majority, a
I
vocal majority.
Prefer to remember it as half and half.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just talk about this episode of Rebels in depth. Did you like it, Josh?
Did I like it? Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. It had a reason. It didn't have a bunch of unnecessary fluff. And it had some action. And it had some character growth.
I thought it was kind of boring, but I thought it was fun seeing the other villain.
As Morrigan?
Yes, he was kind of funny. I get kind of sick of Hondo. He's so slimy, and I hate how Ezra just keeps believing him. I feel bad for
Because
Ezra.
everything always works out.
Not really.
Yeah, every time. Everything works out.
I feel bad
That's how we
for
got to be
Ezra.
friends with Josh. He's like Hondo.
What?
We get wrapped up with his charisma.
I am not at all
Hondo
like Hondo
has
whatsoever.
Yeah, Hondo has a lot of charisma, but he just always backstabs everybody. And it seemed like Ezra was he made a few comments about how he was picking up on that finally.
Yeah. So Hondo stole that Imperial transport the last time we saw him. And now it's all painted like yellow and blue and orange. I thought that was cool.
So he got it custom painted?
Yeah.
Or do you think he was just in a bad part of the universe
I don't know.
Somebody came up, stole his rims,
And painted his ship, and then he stole it back.
he tagged it.
Maybe. I think that's his paint job.
So Hondo's got some artistic flair.
Yeah, I do.
I was okay with this episode overall.
Melch. His name is Melch, not Mott.
I'm still ready for episodes that actually matter. This one, I just don't feel like it really did too awful much. It's just another episode to put in so you have a longer season and the kids enjoy it because there's funny stuff that happens and comedy relief from...
Well, they need the proton bombs. I think they'll play a role later.
Okay. So they could have done a million things that didn't involve using an entire episode to give them proton bombs. They could just give them proton bombs. They don't need an episode to show how they got them.
It was okay. I liked seeing the droid come back.
AP5.
If I like that, I don't like seeing Ezra like all upset, but I'm glad that he's starting to not trust Hondo because he shouldn't trust him. I read a review of this episode and I think the reviewer made some comments and then later watched the recon episode and then was right that the reason why Hondo keeps clinging to this relationship, or Ezra keeps clinging to this relationship with Hondo, is because it gives him like a link to his previous life before he was with the rebels, where he was just free and he was carefree and he could do whatever he wanted on his own. He's kind of a loner like Hondo.
Yeah, I agree.
So you guys ready to review this?
Sure. I'm ready.
I think we should talk about it more and drag
Go
it
ahead.
out.
Talk about it. Do you have anything else to say about this episode? I would love to hear more.
Yeah.
There was a scene that was cool with those wires that were from the ship that was falling to the ghost.
Yeah, they set up a... I can't think of the word right now. There's a very specific word. It's how the Navy also transports supplies from one ship to another.
I don't know.
Or
They were
they
just wires.
shoot those things over and then they make hoists.
Yeah,
Like,
they were just moving things back and forth.
Right.
Yeah, it was neat. And then, of course, the sentry droids blasted it off. And there was a tense moment where Ezra almost perished.
Ezra and Zeb.
Yeah, but Zeb caught him,
Yeah.
caught the cable. And they were pulled up by Kanan, who knew exactly where to grab
That's right.
with his blind eyes.
You just didn't see him rubbing his arm across the side of the ship until he found the wire.
Right. Then okay, got it. So they'll cut that part out, but not where the proton bombs came from.
Right. The proton bombs are more important.
Right. Got it. So I'm ready for a real episode. I know you've watched ahead. Are there any?
I keep hearing that there's some good ones coming.
Let me see what the next one is. I can't remember because I've watched these so long ago. So the next episode is An Inside Man, which, let me look at the picture so I can see what it was about. That one's the beginning of them going back to Lothal. So kind of the broader story with Thrawn. Then there's Visions and Voices, and then Ghosts of Geonosis. Visions and Voices is, you're going to love Visions and Voices. It is an awesome episode.
Are there owls involved?
I don't remember if the owls show up in that one. They do show up in episode 16 or episode 15.
We're a long ways away from that.
I'm not going to say the names of these episodes because they start to spoil stuff if you're familiar with Clone Wars.
Well, then we won't spoil anything.
So, but yeah, some really, really interesting stuff. You'll love 12 and 13.
Good.
Forrest Whitaker is back.
Yes.
In animated form?
Yeah.
Oh, even
wow.
And he's equally as dramatic.
I'm going to give this episode 5 lightsabers.
I would say 6 3/4.
I was going to say 5 before Tim said that because
Oh my god.
You better make it like a 1.
I gave the other one 5.5. And
I think this is definitely better than the last episode.
It is better than the last.
I
me.
like this one less than the last one, so that's why I'm going down a little bit.
All right,
So
what are you
did you
going
give
down
it?
to?
A 5. I gave it a 5.
But you said it like I was going to give it a 5 before Tim did, and as if you were going to change your score.
No, I'm just saying I already had that score
Okay.
tallied
6 3/4.
with my scorecard.
All right.
I thought it was a solid episode.
So we got some people messaging us on Facebook Messenger that I did not see.
It doesn't show
yesterday.
up.
No, it doesn't give
You
us
have to go to a full web browser and click through like
3
sub
different
menus
spots. It's nuts.
to get to these messages.
I appreciate you people that sent Facebook messengers.
But you must understand
There's
it's difficult to
yes.
see them.
So if you want to actually be heard, send an email or post it on the Facebook page. We actually see those. But if you want to be read on the air, you got to do it on the letter, even though I'm going to read your stuff anyway.
Tim sent himself letters of your posts.
I did.
Your
so
messages.
that it was in the right spot. Where did we leave off in the letters?
Michael Young. I think you were gonna either we stopped at Michael Young's or you did read it. I think.
Oh yeah, the official title. Here we go. Here's another guy, Chris. Yeah, here we go. All right, so Chris, who sent a letter today too that we may not get to. He says, so I've just seen the title for episode 8, and I'm not usually one to overanalyze something like this, but I'm not sure what to think about it. On one hand, logic would have me assume that they're going down the path of Empire and Return, and we'll have Luke fulfill the Yoda role in passing down his knowledge to Rey before somehow dissolving into thin air. We have yet to hear him talk like this. Do you think he will? I digress. I really don't want this movie to be another rehash/homage to an original trilogy movie. I want forward momentum with an all-new story. Which brings me to my other hand. What if it's just to make people think they'll follow this path and maybe Luke just thinks he is the last Jedi? What if Rey convinces him to teach her and try and find more Force-sensitive people, and it's more of a pick-me-up for Luke than a, hey, this is all I know, time to be a Force ghost. Oh, hey, this is all I know, time to be a Force ghost. Okay. Having a few extra Jedi around to battle the Knights of Ren may not be so bad. Knights of the Republic versus Knights of Ren. Just throwing it out there. Anyway, can't wait to hear your thoughts. May the Force be with you.
I don't think it'll be a rehash. I think it'll be way more divergent than The Force Awakens was.
I do too. I like the idea of Luke actually, like he points out, getting energized rather than just being like Yoda.
Fizzling out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
I'm excited for...
There's lots of spoilers out there that nobody really knows if they're true or not. So I don't want to comment too strongly.
I just read, or I think yesterday I read that they were doing a bunch of reshoots because of Leia.
I don't know that it's a bunch of reshoots.
That's what I heard.
They're
I'm just telling you what I read.
right. I understand. I'm telling you what I've read.
Okay, what did you read?
That they're just doing pickups that they normally do anyways.
Oh, okay.
But nobody really knows.
All right.
Because when Rogue One was going through pretty significant reshoots, apparently, they also said that it's normal.
Yeah.
These are normal reshoots. Thoughts? Any comments, Jen?
I hope that it's a lot different. I hope it.
What if it's not? What if it's like
then
they go to
a lot of people that complained about The Force Awakens being just like a reboot of A New Hope, they're going to be even more irritated, and I think they're going to lose a lot of momentum with these new movies.
What if Finn's old friend Blando Dalrizian is in charge of a undersea mining colony?
I don't know. What is this Blando's personality like? Is he kind of a
Suave and
A rogue.
Has he got a lot of charisma, but you can't trust him?
yeah, I think so.
Oh, I don't know. That sounds original. I'm all for it.
We got another letter from Michael Young. He says, various Star Wars ramblings. We had asked for, I think, a listing of people rating things, but also he had rated episode 7 extremely low.
Self-proclaimed Jen fan club number 1.
Right. He says, hi, everyone. Gen fan club member number 1 here. I'd like to think that I am...
I would like to think that too. I'm not sure.
In reference to gin, my snarky 9-year-old daughter says to pronounce it Gaian. She's talking about Jin, not you, Jen, but Jin from Rogue One. Various random Star Wars thoughts. First up, favorite Star Wars list order. This is in fave to unfave.
Yes.
Okay, so episode 6.
You don't have to say episode every time.
Oh,
you could
6,
just say
4, 3, 5, Rogue One, 2, 1. It's interesting that he put Return of the Jedi first. I find that interesting.
Well, there's people that like it the best.
Yeah. Rogue One, 2, 1, Family Guy Star Wars Trilogy, Holiday Special, Rebels, Clone Wars, below Rebels?
I would say I'm confused that they're below some other stuff.
Yeah. Fanboys probably should be higher because of the Rush material. I don't get that. What is Fanboys?
Isn't it that fan film where they made a movie of people sitting in line?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is.
I haven't watched it. I'm just vaguely familiar with it.
A couple episodes of The Simpsons that mention Star Wars. Galactica 1980, The Black Hole, Episode 7.
Right. Wow. Pretty low on the list.
Very low. Holy cow, I just noticed how long this email was.
Yeah, he wrote a lot.
All right, here we go. Star Wars in the media. Felicity Jones was on SNL January 14th. The monologue was cute, but no Star Wars reference after that. Over the holidays, the Star Wars episode of Mythbusters discussed dodging a blaster round and the advantage of having a higher ground on the Episode 3 Skywalker Kenobi battle. Toward the end, they merged the two myths. There was a guy who was a lightsaber expert. He helped to demonstrate the lightsaber battle. At the end of the show, he demonstrated deflecting blaster bolts with a lightsaber, and he actually did it a couple times. That's cool.
That is cool. I stopped watching Mythbusters like a long time ago. I used to watch it all the time.
Yeah, but that actually sounds like an interesting episode.
Yeah.
Jedi Journals podcast. I know you don't listen to other podcasts.
Apparently, Josh does.
Well, I guess he does.
I only listen to one podcast.
And it's a Star Wars podcast.
It's a Star Wars music podcast.
He's a traitor. But my second favorite Star Wars podcast is Jedi Journals, when they discuss various Star Wars publications. Recently, they had a special guest, James Lucino, author of Catalyst. It was interesting to hear the process he went through writing the book. He seemed to be apologizing as it wasn't his best work. He had to use the Rogue One script, not the screenplay, for reference. If you ever read a movie script, it's a challenge to put together the story without editing and directing. This is why Catalyst seemed disjointed at times.
I think it's unfortunate that Lucino chose to be on their podcast instead of ours.
We've never asked.
Not that we've had him or would have him.
We've never asked.
But he didn't ask us.
That's true. He should have
I'm
reached out to
sure
us,
they probably reached out to him.
Who's Jedi Journal? I've never even heard of them.
Apparently, they're the second best podcast to people who hate Episode 7.
Huh. All right. My Star Wars credentials. You don't have to read this if you don't want. I drone on and on. Do you want to read this?
It's up to you.
Yeah, why not? Michael Young can take up 90% of our podcast. Okay, here you go. You were wondering about my comments if I even like Star Wars, because he had bashed things so hard. I don't. I love Star Wars. Memorial Day weekend, 1977, my parents went out for the night, and the girls who were watching me took me to a single-screen theater in Annapolis, Maryland, to see this movie they saw advertised, Star Wars. This nearly 10-year-old watched this movie in awe. The girls who took me thought I was having a total spaz, as I loved the droids, had a crush on Leia, related to Luke, scared of Vader, thought Han was cool, and loved that the Death Star was destroyed and everyone celebrated at the end. There were plenty of sci-fi movies and TV before Star Wars, but none had made an impact on me. They were just movies. This literally changed my life. From this moment on, I wanted to do whatever I could to learn about how the movie was made, what happens in space, how to be a pilot, how special effects were created, technology, and computers. I started to read books for pleasure, learn more about military history, built plastic models, learned to build models with proficiency, actually placed in the junior division in a couple model building contests. When I went back to school that fall, I decided to make a Star Wars play. I wrote the script, recruited my friends, the music teacher helped with the music, the art teacher helped with the backgrounds, and in the spring of 1978, I put on the play Star Wars. Ever since Star Wars has influenced my interests, friends, hobbies, studies, and career. I'm curious if you have a video of
home
that.
video, a Super 8 or a...
That'd be awesome. I was part of the first generation of PC users in the early 1980s and got my degree in electrical engineering. Josh,
What?
you have your degree in electrical engineering.
Yeah, except his degree in the 1980s in electrical engineering is significantly different than mine.
I'm just saying you guys have something in common.
We do.
Poor sight and weird eating habits would not allow me to go into the Air Force. Weird eating habits. My career has been in the information technology industry since before IT existed. All of this with the hope that maybe I would contribute to science making a better world. This all relates to Star Wars and that I expect every movie to be better than the last. By the time The Force Awakens came along, my expectations were a 12 out of 10. When I go to a movie, I don't try to guess the ending. I immerse myself into the movie and let the story tell itself. I didn't know that Luke was going to be an angry old nerf herder at the end of The Force Awakens, and I didn't know that everyone would die at the end of Rogue One. I had hoped that there would be a positive ending for The Force Awakens. They just blew up a planet, have a party. All the previous movies had a generally positive ending after all.
Han Solo died.
Yeah. I have watched, well, what about Empire? Han Solo's frozen in carbonite and they're just staring out into the bleakness after Luke gets his hand cut off. That's not very positive.
It's not happy at all.
I've watched every movie the opening weekend in the theater, read every book and many periodicals. For Star Wars, the reason that I may be a little cranky about the last couple of movies is that I have skin in the game. I have 40 years invested into this journey. I expect a lot from each movie. Sometimes I'm setting myself up for disappointment. But this is my generally positive outlook on life, and if I didn't have hope, there wouldn't be any sense of seeing the next movie. This brings me to the topic of recent sci-fi movies. It seems that the heroes are in an awful mood. I mentioned Luke being such a curmudgeon, but look at the Batman vs. Superman movie. Please don't. Don't ever.
It won a bunch of Razzies.
Don't ever bring Batman vs. Superman into a Star Wars debate. That movie's awful. They were in such a rotten mood. Give us a break. You're freaking Superman. You should be the happiest person in the galaxy. That's true. Smile once in a while. Same thing for Luke. Sure, you had a bad apple in your Jedi Academy, but you are a Jedi Master. Have a good time. Your predecessors did. Except Dad. I have to make my snarky Mad Magazine-esque comments to laugh just to keep from crying. May the Force be with you, Mike. That was a long letter.
Yeah.
Thanks for explaining your Star Wars history. I think he was pretty eloquent in describing his feelings and the things that influenced him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they decided to make Batman versus Superman so, like...
Dark?
It's not just dark, though. It's dark and it's angry. Like, you can be dark and still have humor.
I don't know.
And be not so...
They tried to throw humor in.
I'm really disappointed.
Failed.
Disappointed with the recent Batman movies.
Mike Young does have a bit of a Mad Magazine-esque snark to him. I bet he read a lot of Mad Magazine.
I've never read Mad Magazine.
Are you serious?
No.
Never?
Never.
I used to buy them at the grocery store. I thought they were funny when I actually understood. It was often the movie they would be panning or whatever would be a movie I hadn't seen, so it was harder. Like Rosemary's Baby. I remember that one really well.
I have no idea.
Okay. All right. How about another letter?
That sounds like a good idea.
All right. This one is from Yoshi.
Did I delete?
No, you responded to it. He says, this is February 1st. He says, hey guys, so they just released the title of episode 8, The Last Jedi. How do you feel about the title? Do you think it's a bit of a spoiler, assuming they mean Luke dies? And if so, is it too much of a throwback to when Ben dies, and once again they are just repeating plots of the original trilogy? Also, with the death of Carrie Fisher, what do you predict for the future of the rebellion? Will someone step up to lead them, or will they CGI her like in Rogue One? I love the podcast, by the way. Sorry if these are silly questions. Joe. I have been listening to your old podcast again from when Jen was a newbie, and you guys have done so well in helping her learn, and I'm happy to see someone get so into Star Wars from not knowing much originally. Definitely give you guys 10 out of 10 lightsabers. Nice. I think it's interesting that his Gmail title calls him Yoshi, but he refers to himself as Joe.
I don't know. I think I accidentally hit a button and made it go away.
Oh, okay.
Well, obviously did respond.
I think we talked about this a little bit on the last episode. The Last Jedi is definitely plural. I'm happy with the title. And we rated it last.
Yeah, I don't think Luke's going to die.
I don't think he will either.
But
I never even thought about that.
even if he did die, like, I don't think it's paralleling Obi-Wan. It's just somebody dying. Like,
It might parallel Yoda, though. I think that
why?
is where the parallel would be. Because he's some old curmudgeon, like Mike
he's not
said.
a curmudgeon. We don't know what he is. We just know he's on this island all by himself.
I hope he's positive. I hope he's happy-ish. I hope he comes out and he starts wrecking
What if he never talks?
Ren faces. He will. He'll talk.
I'm pretty sure he does.
I am too.
Mark Hamill had an interview recently where he said that the first time he talks is like a monologue, and he said it was really good.
Good.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Could be lying.
I never even thought about him dying.
What are they going to do about Carrie Fisher?
They're not going to use CG.
Yeah, I think
Maybe they're addressing it in all these reshoots or pickups, whatever.
yeah, they'll figure some way how to.
Maybe she already was planning on being dead.
Yeah, who knows?
We don't know.
Or maybe they kill her off, or maybe they handle it in a book and don't address it.
Maybe
in the film.
she dies and Ben tries to save her, and her death makes him stop being evil.
He already killed his daddy. It didn't work.
He didn't like his dad, though.
Yeah,
don't know
he'd have to
if
be
he doesn't like
pretty
his mom.
evil if he doesn't like his mom.
Oh my God.
Maybe Snoke kills Leia, or whatever, Huck or whoever, somebody kills Leia,
Hux.
and then that just snaps him out of it, and he turns all his rage towards the dark
First Order.
side. Yeah.
I haven't put a lot of thought into it because I don't want to think about it.
I don't really either. I'm going to also thank you, Yoshi/Joe, for your compliments on our 10 out of 10 rating of our podcast itself. When we first started the podcast, I wasn't sure how Jenny would take to it. I just knew I wanted to do something with her, and I asked her to do it. I honestly didn't think she would say yes, and I honestly thought that we would quit like within just a handful of episodes. And she's so tenacious that it could never quit. It could never stop. So we've kept going. She's actually been the one prodding me through this lull that we've had in recording episodes. She's like, when are we going to record? When are we going to record? How come we're not recording?
She doesn't want her fan club to dissolve.
That's probably what
It's
it is.
not about Star Wars at this point. I have fans.
There's more truth to that than anyone knows.
No, I like it. It's fun, and we're so behind on the comics. And a lot of people don't read the comics; they just listen to us talk about it, and we're so behind.
I know the comic. I have the most fun doing the comics than I do the other things.
I miss the comics.
Plan it.
Well,
I said this last episode.
We have
chart a
need
course.
to record. We need to go on some kind of marathon and get rid of all these Rebels
We had
episodes.
a lot of kids get sick. We got sick. I had to finish a class.
We've already
We've
explained
been out
all
of
that.
town.
It's fine. I wasn't
It's a
trying
lot
to
of-
criticize our
Many reasons.
issues. I was just talking about how the podcast came to be.
Yeah.
And so it has been interesting for me to see her love of it grow. I was hoping that it would turn into something like she has with Buffy, where she gets obsessed with it and just wants it once more.
I don't think you even thought about it very much before we started.
I know you don't, because you underestimate me all the time.
You barely talked about it. You're just like, hey, let's do this thing.
That doesn't mean that I didn't think about it, just because I didn't vocalize it to you.
Okay.
Good Lord.
I just don't think you...
I know you don't. You've already said that.
He focus grouped it in his head probably 5 or 6 times before even.
Thank you. Josh has faith in me. I'm going to not read any more emails because Josh said he had to be done.
No, I don't have to be done, actually.
Oh,
My kids are going to go to their grandparents instead.
okay. Well, do you want to do one more email
We just do them all.
and catch up?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. This one's from Kevin. He says, oh, this is the one that broke my heart. Here we go.
Oh Oh, what?
This is from Kevin.
I don't remember my
He
heart
says,
being broken.
That's because you wouldn't get your heart broken. He said, hello, SWNU. OMG, I just love your podcast. I just binged 97 episodes in 3 weeks.
That's a lot.
Is that even possible?
It's a lot of episodes because some of them are multiple hours long.
We need
Yeah.
Joel to do some more number crunching and tell me if that's even possible. I drive a lot, he says. Now I'm all caught up. It sucks. It's like getting on Netflix and binging on a series. Then when you get up to date, you have to wait like everyone else. You three are a refreshing, dynamic trio to listen to, like sitting around with my own buds. Jen, you are so frigging awesome.
Oh, I do remember this.
Of course you do.
Why did this break your heart? This was like
Hold
my
on,
favorite
we haven't
email.
gotten to the heartbreak part yet. Listening to all the episodes in 3 weeks, one can really see how much your knowledge of Star Wars has grown. I'm very impressed and jealous. For me, you are the one I most identify with, but all three of you totally rock and have really reignited my love of Star Wars. I was 10 years old, sitting in a theater in Omaha, watching the first showing in our city. It was simply amazing. Thank you all for the time you spend with us, and keep up the awesomeness. P.S. At one time, I was the proud owner of this entire series. This being the Marvel,
The
Star
original
Wars.
Marvel
Yes.
Star Wars comic.
Every comic was in mint condition. I sold them in the mid-90s for a very attractive price. Still wish I had them. Are they still considered canon?
No,
Ugh,
unfortunately not.
that makes me sad. I almost got a large chunk of these issues once for like $2 a comic, and I didn't.
Why is it so sad?
Because he had that whole collection.
But he got a really good price, and now they're not canon. So he got rid of them before that changed.
But there is an emotional connection to those original Star Wars comics. Even I have. They're amazing.
The longer he kept them, the less money he would make from it.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, you're trying to get rid of a bunch of old stuff that you thought was very valuable, and what are you getting out of it?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Pennies on the dollar.
So he made a very smart decision back then.
My Fortress Maximus, though, that's the one I regret the most. I sold it for like $250 and it would sell for like $1,000 now. I just got an eye roll from Jenny.
I didn't. I just said,
All right, this is from the Sherman. He says, "Hey guys, I'm an avid listener from the UK. Found your podcast through TuneIn Radio and have listened to them all. And must say they are pretty cool, but why such a long gap? Keep checking for a new cast, but nothing. Come on, guys. You need to at least one a week. It really helps me sleep."
What is TuneIn Radio?
TuneIn it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a
It's
radio.
not what it sounds
it's
like.
a radio.
it's
It
not.
gives you access to podcasts, but it gives you access to live radio and like ESPN and all kinds of different stuff.
So it's just getting from our normal Stitcher.
It pulls from
RSS?
some feed. I don't even think I added it. I think it just pulled from somewhere. But yeah, we've gotten quite a few listeners from TuneIn.
I didn't know we were so relaxing that he could use us to sleep.
I want to know what club he supports.
He says, anyway, keep up the good work from your biggest South Coast UK fan, the Sherman.
Hopefully he's not a Southampton fan. Because they got beat today.
What club do you think he supports? How would you ever know?
He could send us a letter and say,
I know, but like, is there a lot of geography based from
They're all
Yeah.
close together.
Yeah, my impression is it's
no.
okay. I'm wrong.
There's cities that are on the South Coast.
Yeah.
And there are football clubs.
But it also
Tied to the
depends
city.
on
So
your-
generally a
your
person
family and
is
your
going
religion.
to support their local club, generally, unless they're a tool, in which case they will support Manchester United.
Oh my God. Okay, got it.
Yeah. If you're from Manchester, then it's okay for you to support Manchester United. But if this guy lives in Bristol and he supports Manchester United, there's a problem.
Got it.
So I'm interested. You should send another letter and let me know who you support.
Well-
Let Josh know if you're a tool or if he can accept you as a human being.
He seems very non-tooly.
So the
He probably
Sherman
is a sufferer and supports like Portsmouth or something.
or Leicester City,
Leicester City?
Leicester City, however you say it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Leicester
Didn't-
won the
didn't Leic-
Premiership last
Didn't
year.
Leicester just let go of their coach
Yeah.
or something?
But they won the Premiership last year.
Yeah, but why would they let go of their coach?
Because they're playing like dirt this year.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
That surprises me that they would fire him so quick.
I
It'd
don't
be
know.
like firing Steve Kerr.
The Premiership is way more high stakes than the NBA.
Okay.
The amount of money is ridiculous.
But I thought they didn't even have anybody.
They didn't have anybody, but they won the Premiership. So all of their current players, there's quite a few that have really high value, and they could have sold them and made tons of money, but they kept them on the hopes that they would do well in this thing called the Champions League, and they're not. And so that's why they fired Ranieri, their manager.
But I don't understand.
That's fine.
So they could have sold their players.
Yeah, the way contracts work in football is completely different than U.S. sports.
You remember when we were going to start Football Nerds Unite?
Yes.
When were you going to do that?
Like a year ago. Like a year ago, we were going to start it for Jeff and Kent. And we were going to have this sweet podcast where I was going to be you on the podcast.
Never happened.
Because I was too busy.
We have too many podcasts.
Yeah, we have too many, and too many is one. I'm glad you didn't start it, but it would have been fun.
When you first said that, I thought you were talking about American football. Like
No.
You guys are in a Bears chat, so I thought you were talking about talking about the NFL.
No.
I was going to finish the letters. Now that soccer talk is over. Here we go. This is from Jesse. He says, "Hey guys, new to the podcast, been listening to you guys on Spotify. I listen to you guys on my way to and from work, and I love the content you guys are putting out. I've been a Star Wars fan since when I was a little kid, and none of my friends really ever did. I do have a question for you guys, but I just wanted to get some of my Star Wars backstory out of the way. Met my wife in October of 2015. When we started dating, I told her how much I love Star Wars and how there was a new movie coming out for the series, and if she wanted to go with me. She had never been... They had a romance about as long as us before they got married.
2015?
October 2015.
Yeah.
They're married already. True love. You can't get in the way of it. Time matters not. Right, baby?
Totally.
I love Star Wars and how there was a new movie coming out for the series, and if she wanted to go with me. She had never seen any Star Wars movie before. I have a really cool, complete Star Wars Blu-ray collection that looks like a book, but each page has a disc, and each page has unique art for the specific movie. It's one of my most prized possessions because not only is it Star Wars, but it's something different that I know not many people have. I'm a guy who likes the story as well.
As a whole.
Or as a whole, sorry, thank you. Not just specific movies. So I wanted to give her a linear viewing so she could follow the story from start to finish. We finished watching episode 1 at about 11:30 p.m. and thinking she was ready to go to bed, her first words were, "So are you putting on the next one?" At that moment, I knew I was going to end up marrying her. We watched all the movies in a few days, and we were both roaring and ready to see episode 7 in the theaters. We went to see it twice. Now here's my question. I'm hoping the Nerd Squadron would be able to help me out here. In the theatrical and Blu-ray version of The Force Awakens, you hear Snoke talking to Kylo saying, "There has been an awakening." When watching the movie on DirecTV, they seem to have cut that part out entirely. Why? And I noticed that there is also, before Rey also exhibits any Force sensitivity at all. Oh, and I noticed that is also before Rey also exhibits any Force sensitivity at all. But after Finn has a change of heart, when he decides not to fire his blaster and Kylo notices him, do you think he notices his transition to the light side or the Force awakening in him? Also, when Rey and Finn are both on the Falcon, they seem to be working in tandem with each other. Could they both have awakened Force powers together? Just because Finn could have awakened the Force inside of him doesn't necessarily mean he's a Jedi, but would explain why he can wield a lightsaber with some ease, considering that it takes the Force to use without injuring themselves. Just wondering what you guys thought about all of that. Hope to hear a new podcast soon. Hopefully you already heard our new podcast from the last episode. But the easiest one to address is Finn's ability to use that lightsaber, which we found out in the... What was the book called?
Before the Awakening.
Where Finn, they do close combat.
He had extensive training.
Yeah. He's been trained since he was a child.
Yeah, so that part is totally believable.
He was way cooler than the movie let on. He was way more skilled
Yes.
He was one of the best and the brightest
He was
stormtroopers.
Yeah, they thought he was going to be their leader someday.
Yeah. And in the movie, they sort of portrayed him a little bumbly. So, Ray, what is the awakening? Did we ever... I know we discussed that at length, but what do we think now? When Snoke says there's been an awakening.
I thought it was about Rey.
I did too.
About her coming to the rebel base, her meeting Han, them just getting together, and then her getting a hold of that lightsaber and having those visions, and you just know something's going to happen with her.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I agree. And DirecTV, the cut.
I don't know. I didn't know that they edited it for TV.
I just assume it's just a link thing.
Right, to make it shorter?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fit the commercials better. Or maybe DirecTV is just lamezor and they don't want us to know about the awakening.
I'm more inclined to think it's about Rey, but it could be something else entirely, I guess.
Thank you very much for the letter, Jesse. Feel free to email us letters@starwarsnerdsunite.com instead of Facebook Messenger if you want to be heard within 30 days. This one's from Dan. He says, "Hey guys, love listening to you. I highly suggest you watch the scene in The Force Awakens when Rey finds Luke's lightsaber with the captions on."
Yeah, I just read this yesterday, and now I want to watch it.
We can watch it tonight. We're bad. Yoda isn't the only voice in that scene. After listening to your podcast on The Force Awakens, I watched that scene over and over.
I think we've talked about this since.
Well, we have
that
never done it with
podcast.
the
I've never watched it with
captions.
captions.
No, but I think we've talked about
Yeah, we talked about it a
how
lot.
you can hear Obi-Wan,
Yeah,
and you can hear Luke.
but
you can hear
it's always
Vader.
hard to hear what's being said
Yeah.
exactly.
And we always have the captions on, so I'm surprised.
I
that
can't believe... Well, we've never watched it at home, have we?
have.
Well, there's
I
your
don't-
book report.
All right.
Jen's assignment for the next episode is a complete breakdown of who talks during
All
that
right.
scene.
That
Perfect.
is weird that we didn't have the captions on, because I always have the captions on
I know.
TV.
My wife does that, and I hate it. I have to always go when I want to watch something. I have to
Tim
turn the
used to
captions
hate
off.
it, and now he does it too all the time.
It's so I don't have to listen to the action scenes so loud, and I can actually understand what all the people with accents are saying. I can't understand.
It's
people
very
with
helpful. I have really bad hearing, and I can't stand it if I don't know exactly what they said. I have to, like,
I just had my hearing test for my contingency assignment.
Yeah.
I have perfect
perfect
hearing.
I've had bad hearing since I was a kid. I've had a lot of ear surgeries.
Really?
Yes, I've had to have. I think I'm technically supposed to have a hearing aid by now, but I don't.
What?
I don't go. I haven't been back to get it rechecked.
There was an article I read yesterday or 2 days ago where there's this new treatment where they can make the little hairs in your ear start working again.
Huh.
There you go. You just need to get your hairs working. This one's from John. One of my favorite podcasts, and then he gave us one of those cheek glowing smiley faces. I didn't even listen to podcasts, but I wanted to hear some opinions on Rogue One and watch some YouTube videos, but none were even close to you guys. Aw. Thanks for the good insights and funny banter to keep me entertained on my drive to work. You're welcome. Thanks for the message. And I think technically we post to YouTube, so maybe you could have seen us there.
How?
I have it set so it auto posts to YouTube. We have
So
a
it's
YouTube
just the
channel.
picture and then
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
interesting.
and our audio. This one's from Chris. He emailed us. I read his email at the beginning of the episode. He says, "Hey SWNU crew, I just finished episode 98, and I have to say it was worth the wait."
That was just
That was just the one we
last
recorded.
night.
Oh
He
man.
says, "I'm glad I'm not the only one who gets letters added to their name. I'll never understand that. Good news. I did not stop listening to the podcast the closer I got to the beginning. I did eventually figure out how to put them in order, and during the hiatus, I was able to finish all 97 episodes, some of them twice. I don't know if you've been keeping up with Rebels or just watching as you get ready for the podcast, so if that's the case,
You're gonna have to
spoiler,
skip that.
incoming, save for a later date.
Don't
Okay.
say
End
it.
of spoiler. I didn't read it. It was great having a new episode to listen to. Thanks for taking the time to read my emails, Chris." Thanks for the email, man. Appreciate it. And I'm glad you listened to our episodes so quick. Holy cow.
When we get to those Rebels episodes, we'll talk about your.
Yeah, for real.
Spoiler section.
Assuming we remember it. That's a lot of pressure.
I'll remember it.
We have Icy Spidey posted something on Facebook too.
Today?
Yeah. Or yesterday.
What did he say?
He knows-
I feel
he
like
knows the
we've had
rules.
some more. We've had several emails that you haven't read about. Where are you guys?
It was on Facebook and stuff.
No, we've gotten several
And
emails.
Twitter. We've gotten Twitter. You know what? If you have more than I have, read them. There are more than just me who can do this. Oh my gosh. That post I made yesterday with that lame picture of us setting up for recording,
Got a lot of comments.
it got a lot of people looking at it too.
People are thirsty for the content.
Yeah, they are.
I cannot make Facebook do what I want it to do. What did Icy Spidey say?
I think it's under visitor. You go to posts and then you go to visitor posts. It's so clunky. It's the worst.
Bad.
Yeah, Icy Spidey in February 14th, he said, I need my SWNU fix. That was on Valentine's Day, I think, because he was lonely.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say he needed us because we're his first love.
There's no Iowa City. I can't remember the love interest of Spider-Man.
Mary Jane.
Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane.
He also posted, I recently heard that Jar Jar's fate was explained in the upcoming Aftermath book. The Aftermath series is the only canon novels that I have not read, so I hope you guys do an episode on the novel or tell the SWNU fans what happens to Jar Jar. Jenny's going to be out of town in a couple weeks for work, and I'm suspecting that Josh and I will do an episode on that when she's gone.
On what?
Empire's End.
Yeah.
A book?
Yeah.
They
Then
talk
you'll
about,
have to listen to the podcast. to
They
know what
talk
happened.
about Jar Jar?
Jar Jar
Yeah.
is in Empire's End.
Is it like a current? Well, I guess it
happens
can't be
right
current.
after Life Debt. So it's like 4, 5, 6 years after Return of the Jedi.
Okay. Well, that's it for today. That was a long episode again. We're caught up on letters, and we are ready to get more. So email us, letters@starwarsnerdsunite.com. Use our Amazon link. If you buy stuff on Amazon at all, just go to starwarsnerdsunite.com and use that link. That gives us a little bit of a kickback, which allows us to pay for hosting, which is all we ask for all this wonderful content and 97 episodes. that you're getting.
Content.
Yeah.
Us talking in a room.
We're on the BenView network. Check those guys out. We're on Retro Junkies network, and that's all I'm going to talk about.
Oh, wait a minute.
What?
Our next episode is episode 100. It's kind of a big deal.
Is it?
I thought 75 was the biggest deal.
75 is just a build up to 100. 100 is obviously a bigger deal.
I don't know why.
What are we going to talk about? I have no idea.
We
what
have to
do for 100.
decide. We have to talk about it.
I don't think we need to do it
We
live
need
on
to
the
do
air.
a big. Well, maybe people can tell us what they think we should do
Yep.
for episode 100.
Tweet
We're going
us
to
or-
record it tomorrow. I
No,
thought.
we're not.
I
Oh,
can't now.
Tim was
Oh.
wrong.
I have a wash. I have some fancy tuxedo banquet I have to go to.
You don't have to go.
I do have to go.
Why?
He's really obsessed with how he looks in this tuxedo.
I look really good in that tux.
What's the banquet?
It's Washington Day banquet for the Creve Core Club.
Never heard of it.
It's sort of like the
Last year, Rudy Giuliani was there.
Oh, man.
this
Not
year it's
Rudy.
some Fox News commentator guy.
So,
So why do you have to go?
Because my work invites me and I'm important. So I'm going to go with all the other important
you're
people in
networking.
Peoria. Yes.
Okay.
so people should let us know, throw out some ideas for episode 100. We thought,
Jenny thought clip show.
like,
Which
And
is
my
a
head
terrible
exploded.
idea.
going back to some of our funniest moments, our favorite episodes,
Nope.
whatever. Okay.
The
and
only way that works is if everybody else finds the exact spots in all of our previous episodes and sends to me. But even then,
Don't
it
do
will
it.
take me 20 hours to
Don't
edit
do
all
it.
that
We're
together.
not doing a clip show.
It would be a
all
nightmare.
right, whatever.
Come up with something more creative if
They-
you want it to be something that's not normal.
I was thinking we should do Empire.
And I said we've never done A New Hope.
And
so
I said we have.
I don't think we have.
I'm pretty sure we have.
We don't
I meant
have
to go look.
we could do
before
whatever we want, but people should give us their ideas too.
Pretty sure we did it like way, way back. I don't know how to look it up.
We don't have like a searchable thing in our Our website?
I don't know.
We don't know how to use websites.
Well, it's just Tumblr.
What are some other ideas?
I don't really have any other ideas.
A New Hope, Empire, Ahsoka.
We haven't done Ahsoka. Man, that's so weird that you can't search in Pocket Casts.
So anyway, give us your ideas. What do you want us to do for our 100th episode?
We did it on episode 18.
18?
You can do it with the default Apple podcast app.
Yeah, I don't have an Apple podcast app on my Android phone.
So A New Hope is out.
Yeah,
we could do Empire.
Empire's special.
Yeah, it's special. Is it special enough for a 100th episode?
Why not? It's the best Star Wars movie.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm totally open to fan feedback on this, but you guys better get in information soon. There's a chance we will record on in 2 days, which you won't even hear this episode.
Save that one.
You won't even hear this episode by then because I was going to wait to post this for a week. So we're putting out a plea for nothing.
Tim, we can record a basic Rebels episode and then delay posting that.
No, that's some black
my
voodoo
goodness.
magic.
No, it's not.
We can't record 101 before we record 100.
We just, you don't say what number it is.
What if we just skipped 100
and then you just,
altogether? And then it becomes...
That is creative.
And what if we just like put it on a Google Drive somewhere that's public and gave it a weird name and had the internet go try to find it?
That would be awesome.
Whatever.
The lost episode.
That would be so cool. Well, we already have the lost episode.
Yeah, we've lost 2 episodes.
We had the original episode 1. I actually do have a copy of it still.
Yeah.
Let's just see what everybody thinks we should do, and then we'll go from there.
Perfect. Sounds great.
You gotta understand, most people probably aren't like big fans of crappy TV shows like you are.
Crappy TV shows?
Anyone who has a clip show?
I don't care. That idea is out. You guys said we can't do it, so that's not what I'm talking about. Should we do Empire? Should we do a book? Should we just talk about urban farming?
We can talk recipes.
I still want to hear a letter from somebody that says we should drop all this Star Wars talk and just go straight to a conversation podcast where we just
silly
talk. People love us.
We already just talk. You have to have the topic.
Why? We can talk about subsistence home farms more.
Okay.
We'll just change the podcast. We'll talk about our berry
We're not
farm.
changing our podcast.
Our berry farm in the backyard.
We have 3 berry bushes.
All right. May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
Did you hear that? We're doomed.
This podcast is a part of the BenView Network.
You can find this and other podcasts like it at benviewnetwork.com.